Chapter 622, Provocation at Fenghuang. When Zhang Yi and Bai Li Changqing chatted idly, inquiring about the situation in Linhai City, especially the information on Eclipse Moon. He already sensed that, barring any unexpected circumstances, he would definitely be going to the battlefield. At times like this, it was necessary to collect as much information as possible. Bai Li Changqing didn't know much about the situation in Linhai City either. The real core information was only in the hands of senior management such as Zhu Zheng and Tu Yunlai. However, seeing Zhang Yi's serious expression, he smiled and encouraged him. In fact, you don't need to worry too much. For this operation, those of you who have been transferred from the outer city are only supporting. If it weren't for the lack of manpower in the investigation team, you wouldn't even need to come. Zhang Yi looked curiously at Bai Li Changqing. Are you going to go? Bai Li Changqing shook his head with a somewhat dull look in his eyes. The higher-ups said that we haven't recovered from the injuries sustained during our last mission, so we shouldn't participate in this operation. The battle with Genyahara had left all the members of the Black Robe Squad with serious injuries. But this reason was obviously a bit of a lame excuse. With the medical conditions in Blizzard City, most of the injuries should have long since recovered. For example, Wu Di is now full of energy. To put it bluntly, it's because they still believe that Bian Zhengwu is dead, and Bai Li Changqing can't support this team. At the very least, they are unable to take on tasks of this difficulty. But you don't need to worry. If there are no accidents, the Divine Squad will take on this mission. They have never failed when they have taken action. Bai Li Changqing laughed. The doorbell rang, and the waiter brought drinks. Zhang Yi took 2 glasses of milk, one for Hua Hua and one for himself. I can see that you have great faith in them. He drank the milk while staring at Bai Li Changqing, waiting for him to continue. Bai Li Changqing said, although the 6 investigation teams don't respect each other and it is hard to tell who is better, the Divine Squad does have the highest completion rate. They have always ranked at the top of the 6 investigation teams in terms of points. Wu Di couldn't help but say, isn't it because they have money? Zhang Yi could hardly hold back his laughter. Wiping away the smile at the corner of his mouth, he said, you mean, he relies on the Deng family's resources, right? Bai Li Changqing nodded. That's right. The Deng family itself is an important force in Blizzard City. Blizzard City relies heavily on them in terms of technology, especially biotechnology. The Origin Bomb, which can enhance various compounds of aliens, comes from their Deng group. And as the heir apparent of the Deng family, Deng Shintong is naturally the object of their full cultivation. Zhang Yi drank his milk in silence. He sensed an unusual smell. Why does it sound a bit like creating a god? If Deng Shintong maintains the state, his power may even overshadow the other 6 teams in the future. It is even possible that he will become Zhu Zheng's successor, Zhang Yi muttered to himself. This topic is a bit sensitive. But the Deng family's actions are too obvious, and many people know it in their hearts. Bai Li Changqing even said without any hesitation, Blizzard City is very dependent on the Deng family nowadays. Although Zhu Shuai is the supreme commander of Blizzard City, he also needs to give some face to the patriarch of the Deng family. It's not surprising that they want to take advantage of the chaos to gain more benefits. After Bai Li Changqing finished speaking, he suddenly laughed loudly and raised the whiskey in his hand. Ha ha! What do these things have to do with us warriors? No matter who comes to power, as long as he can let everyone live freely, we will just do as we are told. Drink up. Zhang Yi smiled as he lifted the milk in his hands and said, bottoms up. Zhang Yi finished the milk in his hands. And Bai Li Changqing also finished a large glass of whiskey with gusto. It can be seen that his drinking capacity is very good. When Zhang Yi arrived in Blizzard City, a meeting with only a few participants was taking place in the high-level meeting room of the Operations Center building. The top commander of the Jiangnan region, Zhu Zheng, the secretary of the commander's office, Lan Xingqing, and Zhu Zheng's almost inseparable bodyguard, Sun Luxuan. Apart from these 3, the next in line were the head of the operations department, Tu Yunlai, and the chairman of the Deng group, Deng Yuanbua, and the captain of the Heavenly Squad, Deng Shintong. These people are the most powerful figures in the entire Jiangnan region, except for the 4 team leaders of the investigation team who are on mission. And today they gathered together just because of one person. A person who was released by the Eclipse Moon organization, the leader of the Yunzhou faction, Li Tianlong. During the first battle, all 10 factions that were sent were annihilated, and Li Tianlong was the only one left alive. But after he returned to Blizzard City, he quickly lost his vitality. However, from the satellite phone he had, they discovered something that Eclipse had given to Blizzard City. Something that the leader of Eclipse, the man wearing a gray newsboy hat and fond of wearing a gray suit and vest, had given to Blizzard City. This important information was sent to Zhu Zheng's hands first. And this was the reason why Zhu Zheng had gathered so many high-level Blizzard City officials. At this time, the lights in the conference room were turned off, and light appeared on the huge screen, followed by the face of Ren Phoenix Courtyard. The bigwigs sitting upright below all wanted to see what this arrogant young leader wanted to do. After the video played for a few seconds, the man in his 30s flashed a huge smile at the camera and waved hello. Note, Phoenix Courtyard was speaking Mianese, but the executives all wore translation tools. Hi, everyone in the Jiangnan region. How are you? Please forgive me for meeting you for the first time. I am Renfeng Wangyuan, the leader of the Eclipse Moon Group, and I am very happy to meet you all. Recently, it seems that we have had some minor conflicts, which is really very unpleasant for both of us. He made a gesture with his hands, pressing them down, and made a serious expression with a stern face. I think we should all calm down for a moment. In fact, we shouldn't be enemies, because continuing the fight will do neither of us any good. He held up one finger, and a cunning, cold light flashed in his eyes. All we want is a piece of land in the area you call the Central Plains for us to survive. Anyway, so many people in your country have died, and you won't be able to use such a huge piece of land anyway. Why not give some to us poor wanderers? Of course, we will also be very grateful for your kindness and will always remember your great kindness. So, let's not continue this farce. As long as you withdraw all your soldiers, promise not to attack us in the future, and give us a piece of land, then we will also stop slaughtering the people on this land. Phoenix Yuanren narrowed his eyes, with a smile on the corner of his mouth like a fox. Please think carefully about this, and I await your response. But if we continue fighting, what will be the consequences? I believe you have already seen it. The previous alien troops are the best example. Chapter 623, High-Level Meeting. The video basically ends here, and the faces of everyone in the meeting room are very ugly. None of them are not surprisingly angry. These damned Ronin actually have such great ambitions, running to the land of the Huadua country to claim their homeland. Bang! Zhu Zheng slammed his hand on the table, his eyes almost burning with rage as a soldier. How dare they? How dare these Ronin come to our Hu country and act up? They must be destroyed on the spot, without exception. Deng Shenfa stood up, his slender physique and determined eyes revealing his confidence. Zhu Shuai, let me lead the team over there to destroy them. Give me 1 day, and I will come to see you with their heads in my hands. Zhu Zheng looked at Deng Shintong, and approval appeared in his eyes. Young people are full of energy. But at this moment, a coughing sound rang out in the conference room. Cough, cough, cough. This voice made Zhu Zheng can't help but turn his head. Deng Yuanbo, the chairman of the Deng Group and also Deng Shintong's uncle, put down his right hand and said with a smile, why go to all that trouble with these Ronin? Just use the Reaper of Love and bombard them. He was a little short, in his 50s, but looked younger than his age, with smooth skin with hardly any wrinkles. It was just that the Buddha-like face always carried a slight smile, reminding one of the words harmony brings wealth, and no one could see a change in expression on his face. He was the head of the Deng family, Deng Yuanbo, known as the Eight-Faced Buddha. The Deng Group provided at least half of the assistance in the field of technology in the Blizzard City. Even Zhu Zheng had to give him some face. After hearing what Uncle Deng said, Deng Shintong immediately said anxiously, Uncle, they're just some riffraff, why make such a big deal about it? I'll just go over there with my men and wipe them out. Uncle Deng looked at him with a smile and gave him a gentle nudge. Shentong, don't get excited. Sit down. Hey, you young people really are like that, you get worked up so easily when things happen. Why don't you use your head and think about it first? Deng Shentong still listened to his uncle's words and obediently sat down. However, from his dissatisfied expression and tapping fingers on the table, it can be seen that he still wants to go and fight against Eclipse Moon. Zhu Jing looked at Deng Yuanbua and said with a smile, Mr. Deng, the Reaper of Love cannot be used casually. He crossed his arms and said seriously, the Jiangnan region only has a limited number of Reapers of Love, and we have to explain to other regions every time we use it. The key point is, if we only use it to deal with small groups of the Ronin organization, and use this kind of weapon of mass destruction on our own land, aren't we just telling everyone that there is no one left in Jiangnan district? I'm afraid that by then, the whole world will laugh at us. Deng Yuanbua shook his head with a smile. Compared to face, I think the inside is more important. We haven't figured out the strength of this Ronin organization yet. Although the 10 groups of outsiders are all from the outer city, many ants can kill an elephant. Not to mention that they are a pack of hyenas. But such a powerful force was completely annihilated by eclipsing moon in just 1 hour. I don't think even our investigation team could have done such a thing. Uncle Deng Yuan also had a very clear attitude. This mission was too dangerous, and he didn't want his nephew to take risks. Deng Shentong is a talent that the Deng family is cultivating, and they have high hopes for him in the future. The son of a wealthy family does not go near a dangerous place. Even when they carried out missions before, the Deng family would use all their resources to obtain as much information as possible before taking action. But in the current situation, there is too little information about Eclipse Moon in the Jiangnan region. Deng Yuanbua is worried. At this time, Tu Yunlai, the head of operations, also spoke up. I don't think Eclipse Moon is stronger than the investigation team. According to our investigation, Eclipse Moon is from Neon Kanto and its members are of mixed backgrounds. They include gangsters, office workers, witches, and even students and stay-at-home parents. Even though they have awakened their supernatural powers, they have not received professional training like the investigation team. This can be seen from the previous video. We are amateurs against amateurs, so it is natural that they seem very strong. However, in reality, this is not the case. In terms of combat skills, the Heavenly Squad is completely superior to them. Zhu Jing also said, and this time, it is not just the members of the Heavenly Squad who are acting. I have also deployed some of the best aliens from the outer city to cooperate with them. These people, together with the Heavenly Squad, and the assistance of our entire Jiangnan region. Taking down these Ronin is definitely not a problem. Deng Yuanbua could only smile when he saw Zhu Jing speaking so solemnly. Although as the head of the Deng family, he had a certain status and position in Blizzard City, it was impossible for him to openly disagree with Zhu Jing. However, he tactfully proposed another suggestion. In that case, can the members of other investigation teams be transferred back first to participate in this operation together? Lan Xincheng pushed his gold-rimmed glasses and said calmly, the investigation teams for demons and reincarnation are both carrying out very important missions. If we talk about the level of the missions, I'm afraid they're not much lower than Linhai cities. The Jiangnan region is so big, and now that it's leveling the mountains and rivers and purging internal and external chaos, it's hard to imagine how busy it is. No one can afford to be idle. Upon hearing the names of the other investigation teams, Deng Shentong immediately frowned. There's no need to wait for them to return. For this mission, our Heavenly Squad can strike out on its own. If we have to wait for them to return, I'm afraid these guys will have long since run away. There was an underlying competitive relationship between the 6 investigation teams, all hoping to become the leader of the 6 investigation teams. And Deng Shentong, the noble young master, cared a lot about his reputation. If it got out that he had to get other investigation teams to assist him on a mission, wouldn't that make people laugh their heads off? Uncle Deng frowned slightly and glanced at his nephew, feeling a little helpless. But before he could say anything, Zhu Jing made a decision. You're right, time waits for no man. What if these guys run to another city and start killing there? That would be terrible. The Heavenly Squad will be in charge of this mission. We must put an end to this farce quickly. Even though they knew there were risks, there were some things they had to do. The point of having an investigation team is not to let them go on 100% safe missions, but to use their own strength and blood to fight for a bright world for this land. Deng Shintong said with a firm gaze, "Yes, Commander." Zhu Jing was looking at him with a stern expression, but his gaze was a little softer. After the aliens in the outer city have gathered, you need to meet with them. After all, they are cooperating with your actions. Deng Shintong stroked his chin and suddenly asked, "Is Zhang Yi from Tianhai City coming on this operation?" Zhu Jing nodded with a smile. "His name is indeed on the list,